everyone. Welcome back. Today's episode is all about intuition. This is a common theme that comes up when we're working with clients, when we are just doing things in our own life. Everything comes down to intuition. And a lot of times we miss those intuitive nudges and think intuition is one thing when really it's complete opposite.
Yeah, because many of you are like us who listen to this show, to where you're empathic, and for a majority of your life you were a people pleaser. So you would be picking up different information and blocking it out. And I've heard that from clients over the years share that. I've done that for the majority of my life, to where I would just not want to see certain things. And then I got so used to creating that pattern of blocking out my intuition on certain areas, like with people that I love and care about. You'd be picking up signs when you're around them, instincts, and you're like, no, I don't want to see that about them. So you just push it to the side. And we do this in several different areas. And when you teach yourself to keep pushing your intuition to the side, that's when people start to become confused with their intuition. And is it fear or is it intuition?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, is trying to figure out, am I really, is this really clearly my intuition or not? So one of the signs that it's your fear over intuition is if you already had a fear or phobia about a certain topic, and just say you want to go on a trip, or you want to start a new job, or you want to take a class, or whatever it is. Those are common themes, like when people want to make a big change. If you were already nervous about it before, most likely it's not going to be your intuition speaking and saying, don't get on the plane, or don't take that trip, or don't take that job because something bad could happen, or whatever it is. If you're already fearful about it before, most likely it's not your intuition nudging you to get that uneasy feeling inside. A lot of the times when our intuition is working, it's very random. It's not planned. We could be brushing our teeth. I know for us, like when you're walking, Tony, or you're playing basketball, you get intuitive nudges. For me, I might be blow drying my hair, taking a walk, or driving in the car, and all of a sudden I get a download, either an image or a phrase that comes to mind, or I wake up with a message. It's very random when intuition comes. If we force it and say, okay, I need the answer right now, I want my intuition to work right now in this moment, it's not going to work as easy because we're in our analytical brain.
Yes, and I've done that for many years, to where I was trying to force an answer, force a decision. But then as you start to get better at it, like you said, you start to realize, like there's many times where you ask me, hey, what do you think about this?
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to decide about this? And sometimes I know my instincts tell me, and we've learned, you've done it, we've learned to make decisions from our instinct over the years. Like you practice and practice and practice, and you get really good with it.
And quicker.
And quicker. So if I don't have that instinctive decision, I tell Lindsay, no, I can't tell you right now. I don't know.
And I get frustrated.
She gets frustrated sometimes.
Because I already know the answer of what I think, and I want the decision right there.
In that situation. So then what I have to do, growing up, I played sports my entire life. And sports helped me develop my instincts. Like when I'm on the basketball court or I'm playing sports, if I'm in my head, I can feel that subtle difference where it's like, oh, I need to pass over here. No, it's in my head. As soon as I'm in flow and in that instinct, and all of my cells are lined up in my body, and my energy feels like it's flowing, and when spirit's coming through me, it's flowing through me, then it's thoughtless, it's effortless. So that's how I like to make decisions. So sometimes when you're asking me, hey, what's the decision about this? I'll have to go walk with it, play basketball with it, and many times I'm not even thinking about the question or the decision, and then all of a sudden, boom, it comes to me. It's an inner knowing, and the way it comes to me is I feel it in my heart first. It comes and it hits my heart, and I feel it, and then it goes into my bones, and I just feel this energy, this inner knowing where it's like, nope, this is the decision. This is where I need to be. Oftentimes, if I'm congested with emotions, if I'm overstimulated, like many of the people that we work with that listen to this, like you can get overstimulated and you just feel like your whole body and energy body is clogged up. That's the worst time to try to make an intuitive decision. So I think the message here is like patience. So being patient with it, and like you said, not forcing it at times. Like if you're trying to force it, I need to make an intuitive decision, that's when you know you're off. Whenever you just go walk with it and do your thing, do art, whatever you have to do to go process your energy to make your energy body more clear, more light, that's when you're going to have all of your answers.
Right. And just those of you who are listening who understand the process of intuition, it doesn't have to be a year long decision of something. Like if someone asks you in the moment, what do you think about this? And like Tony was giving the example, and I don't know right now, like I'll tell you after. It could be going on a walk in the afternoon and the answer is there. If you are overthinking things and it feels really, really complicated and you feel like you're spiraling into like not getting the answer, you know that you have to take steps back from it. And I think that when you mentioned sports, it reminds me of mediumship readings. For those of you that are mediums that do group events, or you come back from a private reading that you had so much great energy from, that's a space that I would make a decision in actually, because your vibration is really high. You're not really in your analytical brain at that point if you're having a great experience with the group reading and everything's on high. If you are already stressed out about something, you're already overwhelmed, and someone asks you to go and they ask you to make plans to do something that day, if you say yes, you'll probably be kicking yourself and you really don't want to do it. If you try to answer and you really feel like you want to say no, um, don't even try to make the plans at that moment. Take a step back because you can't even see clearly. I think that's the big thing is when your intuition, when your fear is overworked rather than intuition, because you can't do both at the same time. Intuition and fear, they don't work together. You know that I need to take a step back and I'm not going to make any decision right now and then go from it when I'm in a good space.
Yeah, so the key is making sure your energy is at a high level. So you
Yeah.
want to be at a high frequency. So you can think of it like on radio stations, TV channels. It's like you turn on a certain channel, you're going to tune into that frequency. So if you think of like your energy levels, like how you're feeling, sometimes you feel lower, sometimes you feel higher. You're getting really good at sensing, oh, my energy is really high right now. Like my frequency is high. So that's when, like you said, all of your answers come to you. So when you're making intuitive decisions, you can make your decisions like that. So the goal is to keep your energy high. You want a daily routine to where your habits energize you, build your power. Because then, like you're saying, Lindsay, like your decisions will come quicker and quicker and quicker. So that's with decision making. But what about that information that just comes to you? So when you're in those high frequencies and you're just gaining information about the people around you, about different ideas you should pursue, just random stuff coming in, and you're like, wait, what is that? That's all knowing, because intuition is really your intuition is your connection to God or source or the universe. So it's all knowing. So Lindsay, you can think about over the years to where when we're in those high energies, high frequencies, it's like we will say something where it's the most random thing ever. And it could be about people in our life, like we just know information, like we're not trying to tap into their life. It's just things come to you, and it's like this information's coming to you for a reason.
We might be thinking about a person, like that just happened. We were thinking about someone, and we didn't, your childhood friend, and then they were in the area that we were in one day. Remember?
Exactly. So I had a random dream about a person I hadn't thought about in a long time, and then I woke up and I was like, there's a reason why I'm having this dream. Let me test it. So then I go on social media and realize they're in Florida. So that's the power is I feel like when you get this information that's coming in, journal it down and check it. Journal it down, check it. Check your information, because as you start to realize the connections, like, oh, I'm thinking about this person and they're in my town right now. Or I get this information about these certain people, and 6 months later, 2 months later, that information becomes true. So it's wild when that happens, because it teaches you that we're all connected, and certain things that come into your intuitive mind that you should never know about, you know about. Why is this important? It's because you can use this with every area of your life. So it's not just about getting random information. This is about tapping into an all-knowing source to where if you ever feel like you're plateauing in your life or you're trying to figure out what should I do with my business or what should I do with my relationships or how do I make my health better, like your information is right there as soon as you lock in and connect to that source, to that link, and that link is clear, it's not corroded.
Yeah, and it reminds me of a situation that I had where I was saying a prayer, said a prayer before bed. I said, I want the answers. When I woke up, I was actually half asleep. So I was half in a dream and half out. And I saw an image of the answer to the solution. And I heard it like a thought in my head what the answer was. And that was my solution. So sometimes we have to put the intention out there all the time. Put the intention out there that I want this answer or I'm trying to get guided in this situation and I'm going to let it go. I'm putting it out there, write it down, put the date next to it. Like you said, write it in a journal and then let it go, allow it to unfold naturally. And sometimes it's the people closest to us or even at a coffee shop and all of a sudden you're overhearing a conversation and it has to do with the answer of what you need. Like I remember us having so many conversations, then we'd go out to a coffee shop, just had the conversation, and someone next to us was saying the exact answer, you know? So it might feel like it's a coincidence, but there's no coincidences in life. Everything is unseen energy around us. It's working in your favor. Intuition is not like a woo-woo thing. Intuition is our birthright. Our physical body and our heart is a compass for our intuition. And the more that we utilize the intuition and actually act on it, I think that's the difference, is using the intuition, receiving the cues, and then acting on them, taking action in alignment with what you're getting. You start to build confidence and it becomes so easy and it's quick. Like I couldn't make decisions before. Years ago, I couldn't make a decision. When it comes to food, that's a little bit different. We've talked about this on this episode. It might take me a little bit for food. And I might be more in my head like, oh, this is the right thing to eat. And this, I want this and blah, blah, blah. So, but anything else, I'm fast. Like I know exactly. And if I don't make a decision quickly, then I know there's something that's not lined up for me. Now, was I like this over 10 years ago? No, because there was a lot of fear that would come up. Well, if I make this decision, am I going to have enough here? Am I going to have enough time? Am I going to have enough money? Am I going to... So all these things, the human emotions, I think that's a common theme. I think about the retreat a lot. I'm giving this as an example because our retreat's coming up. One of the things that I've heard from our clients over the years is, finally I'm here after 5 years of wanting to go. I kept putting it off. I kept making excuses. And they would say, well, I didn't have enough money or I didn't have enough time. Finally, they're like, I'm sick of my excuses. And they decided, I don't know where this is coming from, but I know I need to be there. And they stopped overthinking it and all the details came together. So that's just a big example of how it can work. The other big example is leaving a job that's comfortable. I give so many intuitive readings to people that have been at the same job for 20 years and they're miserable. And they're like, well, I have a good boss. Well, I have benefits. Well, I'm really good at what I do. But they're miserable and it's taking away their life force. And they think, well, I can hang on for like 10 more years and I'll be good. I'll be able to retire. But is 10 years really worth being at a job that you're miserable with when you intuitively know there's something better out there?
Yeah, and how do you know that you intuitively know? Well, if it keeps coming up that you want to change your job, then that's how you know it's like there's a calling inside. Whatever that calling is calling you inside and it keeps calling you over and over and over again, that's how you know. That's like your deeper part of yourself that's trying, it's battling with your ego part of yourself. Your ego is like, well, I got to keep my job because I need the money and I need this. And we have all these ideas. And sometimes it's true. It's like, yeah, you don't want to just quit your job and do this. But if this is going on for 10, 20 years and you still have that intuitive nudge coming up to you, that's a sign like, okay, I need to trust this. I need to start working with this because it's like slaying your dragons. As you listen to that call of that 10-year, 20-year call, and you finally take action on it, like you were saying earlier, now all of a sudden you've built this new level of trust with your intuition, and you'll be able to make bigger decisions easier and easier and easier. Another way that I love intuition and how it works, and this is something I've really been practicing a lot, I would say in the last 5 years, is just trusting what I get when I'm around people.
Mm-hmm.
Because 80-90% of language is on scene energy.
Mm-hmm.
It's intuitive. It's body language. It's a feel you get. So if you're talking with somebody and their words aren't matching up to the energy that you're feeling, I've learned over the years to trust the feeling. I no longer allow people to use their words to try to convince me of something. So you could call it passive aggressive. Some people could come up to you and they're very passive aggressive. So their energy, you could feel it. Passive aggressive energy, your intuition is going to be going off. Your radar is going to be like, wait, this feels uncomfortable. This is intense. But they might be saying words that are very smooth. They can get
considered a joke.
Considered a joke. I'm joking, but the energy behind it. So when you listen and trust your intuition, when you're around, whether you're meeting strangers or people you've known for 10 years or clients or whoever it is, I feel like because you're every single day you're interacting with people.
Mm-hmm.
So as you master this part of your intuition and you trust the feeling that you get, and then you start getting really good at not being reactive, because sometimes you could feel that energy from people, and then naturally that energy causes like a reactive energy inside of you, because when people are putting that passive aggressive energy, we'll call it, out to you, that's reactive energy to start with. So as you take that energy and you transmute it and you're responsive and you stay in your power, you grow. Each time that you do that, you grow. You don't only grow as a person, you grow your emotional intelligence, you grow your intuition, and you grow your trust in yourself. Mm-hmm. And then also, you're able to create better results for yourself and for everybody around you. That's the most important key here of this.
In better relationships and spot out, like if you're meeting new people, oh, okay, I see that pattern. If you see a similar pattern in someone else and you're like, oh, that feels like that one 10 years ago that happened to me when I was being aware of my intuition. So that brings a good point up with relationships. And I think that's an important piece. Sometimes you could stay in relationships with friends or partners and you think, well, I've been with them for so long, just like the job. Been with them for so long, maybe I should stay with them because I already put in all this work. But the big thing that you have to recognize, I think, when we're going against our intuition, our physical body shows up about 6 months later. So 6 months later, your physical body will start to show signs of weakness. You might get headaches. You might feel sick all the time. You might get back pain. We talked about this in another episode. And it's because something's emotionally off. So if your life force is being taken out because of the relationships that we're around, we're not using our intuition, that's when you know, wait a second, I'm having a lot of pain. I need to figure this out. And sometimes we'll go to the doctor, try to figure out that way. Most of the time, it's connected to emotional things that were unsettled. And it manifests into physical things. So when you get to the root of it, all of a sudden things start to shift.
Yeah, because if you don't listen, like that calling for your job, it's calling you for 10, 20 years to change jobs, or calling to change relationships. Like, well, you need to get out of this relationship. If you don't listen to your intuition, then like you're saying, it starts to go to your body.
Yeah.
So then your body is infinite intelligence. Your body is very intelligent. So the pain in your body is your intuition getting louder and louder and louder. Like you said, as you slow down, and you could literally, we do this with our clients. We literally have them close their eyes and you just slow down and you just scan your body for parts of your body to where you feel relaxed. Mm-hmm. And then you notice parts of your body to where you feel tension or pain. And then you go to that pain. And then you start talking to it like it's an entity, like it's another person. Mm-hmm. And you have a conversation with it. And then what it does is it brings you back in time, in memories. So when you first start developing that pain, and what you'll notice is a pattern. You notice that each time that pain comes up in your neck or your back, it's tied to some kind of transition. And you'll find patterns within that transition. Maybe it's like your parents. Maybe it's like relationships, like you're saying, oh, I was in another relationship and I knew I had to get out. Whatever it is. And as you dive deeper and deeper, and the way you do this is how you dive deeper and deeper with a human. You just keep talking with them and you be vulnerable with them and listen. So you talk with your pain and you listen. And then as you start to release the pain in your body, now your energy body is way more clear. And then when your energy body is way more clear, you start to be even more intuitive, because now as spirit comes through you, because that's what you are, a spirit, you're connected to spirit, now there's no more roadblocks blocking it. It's very clear. And like you said, you start to build that momentum and your decisions start to go like that, and you start to trust more and more, faster and faster.
And sometimes you have to just ask that question. If you have pain in your neck or whatever it is, you have an ailment, and say, like, what are you trying to show me? Like, what is this? Like, what emotion comes out right now? Like, when I'm thinking of this pain, like, what if, just say it's like your knee, what is this connected to? You might get a word, a phrase, maybe even a person's name. Maybe there's unfinished business with someone that you didn't forgive, or you didn't get to clear a situation up that you're still angry about. So one exercise that we've done too, and I believe it's very powerful, is there's a couple things. One, you can actually write a letter to the person that you feel like you're incomplete with. And you don't have to send the letter. You don't have to send the letter.
Dear bastard.
So you so you end up writing a letter. You write a letter to the person, like everything. Don't be afraid to be angry, sad, whatever the emotion is. Write it out. You could rip it up after. You don't need to send it to them. Sometimes it's better not to send it to them. Unless you're having this conversation and you're saying, like, listen, we got to talk and blah, blah, blah. It depends on the situation, really. Everything's different. Do it that way. Feel the emotions. Or we've done it to each other where we'll stand up and we are the person that we didn't get to say what we wanted to say to. So Tony would be the person that I'm like, listen, I'm really mad because you did this, this, and that. And he is the person that's the other person, but I can take all of my emotions and just use Tony
Beat me with it.
use Tony as the person, but it feels better, and they don't have to say anything back. If they could,
And then I leave feeling like shit. No, that's a process.
Yeah. So just go with it. The other thing that I've recognized too is my dreams. I feel like dreams can be off the charts with intuitive information. I mean, I've seen things in my dreams before they've even happened, to get warned about relationships, and had scenes come to me, and I'm like, whoa. And then all of a sudden, the next day, I found out, yeah, that was true. So, and sometimes there's fear dreams too. I want to say that just because you have a dream doesn't mean that it's true. You have to understand, like, the process of your intuition. There's fear dreams that we release things from the subconscious mind. That's one type of dream. And then there's other dreams that are intuitive dreams. And it's going to be with practice and writing down the date, writing down the dream, and putting a check mark if it does become correct, and having the feeling. Also, you have to really practice that, because you could be miserable thinking all the dreams are true when they're really not. But what I will say, we've had this conversation before with dreams. There are times where maybe you haven't seen someone in 10 years. Maybe it was yesterday, but maybe there was a disagreement with a person, and you have a dream where you're actually speaking to the soul of the person that's still alive. And you're having this conversation, having this energy exchange, and you feel a sense of healing or freedom. Or maybe you haven't seen them in a while and you get to hang out with them in the dream and everything's good. It's powerful when this happens. So those moments we have to be open to, that sometimes our healing and intuition doesn't always happen during daytime. It could happen in a sleep state, because our soul, our spirit, is alive in all of these states. So that's a big thing to pay attention to.
Yeah, I think you kind of hit on it too, is like being okay with failing with this. It's like with anything that you're doing, like not beating yourself up too much, understanding that this is a process. So like you think about like an NFL quarterback. It's like they have to make split decisions real quick, like who am I throwing to, and you have to trust your instinct. Like when things are processing that fast, and life's like that, right? So life's processing really quickly. you gotta fail sometimes, right? And then with those failures, it's gonna feel like a different energy. Like, and then you'll start to notice the pattern because all this is intangible. So like you have to like get like you literally have to fail in order to know what your intuition is.
Yeah.
So that's another way to say it too. So being okay with that and understanding that the more that you fail at this because you're being aware of it and you're trying, the faster your intuition will get better and better and better.
Right, exactly. And with intuition, I think we can confuse the feelings with maybe we shouldn't do it if we feel excited and nervous at the same time. That's actually intuition. If we're feeling excited and nervous, sometimes we have the little nerves inside. Sometimes we're like, I'm just feeling like I got to do it right now, and I need to make this decision pretty quickly. So just pay attention to your specific pattern, and it's going to be through the failures to figure out the answers for you because everyone's different. So let's hear from you. Share with us, has there been moments where your intuition has told you, you should do this, this is exciting, maybe it's a trip or whatever it is, and you went after it and you did it, and how did that feel? And then share, were there times where your intuition told you to do something and you actually didn't follow through with it? And looking back in hindsight,